Doppo Orochi, a 10th Dan Grandmaster of Karate Shinshinkai, the former champion of the underground tournament, husband to Natsue Orochi, father to Katsumi Orochi. Doppo is known by many titles, such as the God of War, Man-Eater Orochi, and Tiger Slayer. He might have been first thought to be on par with the ogre, as he fought against Yujiro Hanma in the Maximum Tournament, and was able to fight evenly, so much as to inflict pain to Yujiro, using powerful yet accurate strikes and defense, forcing Yujiro to use his demon back during that fight. Doppo unfortunately lost the fight, his right eye, and died in the process. He is a hand-to-hand combat genius who observes his opponents carefully before the fight even begins. Doppo had already observed every minute details of his opponent by the way of his opponent's movements, and prepared himself from the opponent's secret techniques and abilities with numerous counter-defensive and offensive techniques, as he believes that karate is the purest and most supreme form of fighting there is. However, as in real-life combat, not all fights end up in unscathed victory, as unpredictable opponents with unforeseeable strikes can also leave him vulnerable. This flaw caused him to lose his right fist and his face temporarily. Even so, Doppo can be said to be a combatant of superhuman physical characteristics who possess extrasensory perception, as he can visualize his opponent's seikuken, a combat method that involves controlling the entire radius within one's arm length, creating a spherical shield around oneself that can be used for offense and defense, as he is also a master of exploiting one's pressure points. He can inflict serious status-altering maneuvers which can blind and stun his opponent. He was even able to parry Musashi's absent blade. Doppo is based on the real-life creator of Kyokushin Karate, Sosai Masutatsu Oyama, and karateka Hideo Nakamura, the founder of Karate-do Kendo Kai. Karate, the unarmed, full-contact martial arts discipline, a Japanese art of self-defense which employs strikes, kicks, and defensive blocking to disable or subdue an opponent. The emphasis is on concentrating as much of the body's force at the spot and instant of impact as possible. Karate is primarily focused on striking, using the hardest parts of the body. Every part of the body that is available to be used as a weapon is strengthened, hardened, and toughened to their utmost limit, which can be used to smash or pierce through against the enemy's defense and vital points of the body. Timing, strategy, and spirit, on the other hand, are all seen as equally vital as physical toughness. Doppo Orochi's techniques: Maeba stance, an impenetrable frontal defensive stance. Doppo used this stance to somehow limit his opponent to a striking distance. This holds a space between them and allowed him to predict the opponent's move and utilize a counterattack, leaving the first attacker at a disadvantage. Seiken, or four-fist, one of the most adaptable and powerful human weapons of Okinawan karate, by extending all four fingers and curling them so tightly, not allowing any fingers loose, and tightening the wrist, creating a proper fist, and using the first two knuckles to strike. Seikenzuki, or straight punch, utilizes the seiken, as Seikenzuki must come from the waist. The force drives the core, scapula, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fist by rotating and compressing the fist further upon the moment of impact. This maximizes the technique's striking power, thus delivering a thunderous blow upon the opponent. This technique can be utilized repeatedly, bombarding the opponent with brutal blows and devastating strikes, Kotsukake, the uncanny defensive technique of immediately retracting one's testicles to drastically minimize the critical damage effects of a groin strike, preventing the opponent from exploiting the user's vulnerable area. Nukite, or spearhead. This technique requires the user to undergo extreme hand conditioning. Nukite is a strike performed by keeping the extended fingers tightly compressed together, flexing the striking fingers thoroughly by thrusting directly into the vulnerable points of the opponent's body, such as the eyes and throat, and can even lacerate the opponent's skin and flesh. Doppo's Nukite can easily puncture an 18-gauge steel and can use them simultaneously, becoming the ancient double Nukite technique. Axe kick, or hammer kick, is a kick in which the user kicks with a quick downward force with a straight leg, resembling the swinging of the axe or hammer, utilizing the heel or ball of the foot to deliver a descending strike to the opponent's head, nose, or shoulder. Sangan, an ancient defensive stance from the warriors of India, where the user moves his eyes independently, obtaining the ability to pivot both eyes simultaneously to protect and defend himself from incoming attacks from multiple directions. Senshin, an impenetrable ancient form of defensive stance. The stance keeps the user stable and maintain excellent balance. Senshin seeks to develop both muscles and bones, which allows the user to withstand powerful blows from an opponent. Kokuken, or tiger mouth strike, an offensive technique. By extending the hand with the area between the thumb and the first finger stretched open, using the joints of the thumb and index finger, a powerful strike between the opponent's nose and eyebrows. The blow disrupts the opponent's vision and perception, stunning the opponent in the process. This leaves the opponent open for a direct assault. This technique can also target the opponent's throat. Fumasatsu, or wind grasp counter, a counter-offensive technique with an upward palm strike. This technique dislocates the opponent's jaw and causes breathing difficulties to the opponent. Roppa Geishe, a deadly technique where the user utilizes the tips of the fingers by performing a pinecone hand and using it as a chisel. By striking the skull's special joints called sutures, the strike causes the cranium to fracture. The second strike causes the skull to separate even further, causing massive bleeding, brain damage, or seizure. Bodhisattva Fist, the perfect form of Seiken. The fist is more relaxed and loose compared to Seiken's proper fist, similar to a newborn child's or that of the Bodhisattva statues. This technique delivers a very powerful and destructive strike. Mawashi Uke, or rotation defense, a form of defensive technique performed in a circular motion. The technique allows the user to block various forms of direct strikes and capable of repelling incoming projectiles. This technique also allows the user to perform a counterattack. Hand pocket, a deceptive, still-standing form where the user seems to be defenseless and is designed to appear as a handicap, a technique which requires the user to possess incredible hand speed and manipulate the opponent to be careless on each attack, as the user's striking limb is unpredictable, yet the striking limb will be at full force once it leaves the pocket, delivering a lightning-fast yet devastating blow to the opponent. Muco, an offensive technique where the user utilizes the joints of the thumb to target the separation between the occipital and temporal bone. This technique may render the opponent stunned, confused, and lost or slurred speech, leaving the opponent open for further attacks. Due to Doppo's extensive loyalty to the martial art, he obtained an impervious body with high pain tolerance, foresight, superhuman speed, and reflexes due to rigorous training and combat. However, his character is still human, who's still vulnerable to various strikes and techniques. Yet, he was able to face Yujiro head-on, even resulting in an inevitable death, and still survived, and faced the strongest characters in the series. He represents a combatant of pure martial arts genius, who relies excessively on his martial arts alone, and have perfected the art to the extent that he is deluded to the fact that karate is undefeatable.